It is often stated that America holds the position of the world's superpower. However, what if its strength is contingent upon the continued cooperation of 10 powerful countries? Why are these specific nations so critical to the United States' standing and stability, and what consequences would arise if they decided to sever ties? One of these countries controls essential components for smartphones, while another possesses the potential to destabilize the US dollar virtually overnight. Some host American troops, and others are crucial suppliers for America's energy needs. From global debt agreements to intricate nuclear strategies, these nations hold significant leverage. The notion of the US being untouchable warrants re-examination, as these alliances function more as lifelines than mere partnerships. The loss of these relationships could trigger massive fallout. Let's analyze the 10 countries that America arguably cannot afford to lose. Number 10. China. Many people may not regularly consider the origin of their phones, laptops, or even children's toys. Imagine, however, if the supply of these goods abruptly ceased tomorrow. It might be surprising how much of daily American life relies on China. This single nation accounts for over 28% of the world's manufacturing output, surpassing the combined output of the US, Japan, and Germany. From iPhones to solar panels, China serves as the underlying engine supporting American convenience. Beyond manufacturing, China holds over $800 billion in U.S. debt. This represents not just financial figures, but considerable influence. What would occur if China chose to use trade as a weapon or significantly reduce its exports? Shelves in stores like Walmart could become empty, and entire industries might face stagnation. However, the most significant threat extends beyond the loss of goods. It involves a potential loss of control. The United States' reliance on China is more profound than many Americans realize, and if this connection were severed, the resulting domino effect would impact every household in America. Number 9. Russia. Consider the current price of gasoline. Now, imagine waking up to find it has tripled overnight. Such a scenario could unfold not due to local factors, but because of a strategic move by Russia. As the world's second-largest oil exporter, Russia controls nearly 10% of the global crude oil output. Its influence, however, is not limited to oil. It extends to natural gas, wheat, rare earth metals, and significant military capabilities. During international crises, a single decision from Moscow can destabilize global markets. Furthermore, Russia possesses the largest nuclear arsenal on Earth. Yet, its power is not solely military. It encompasses economic influence, regional control, and the capacity to reshape international alliances. A surprising number of global agreements hinge on Russia's decisions. What if Russia completely realigns its focus eastward? What if it ceases cooperation on space technology or cybersecurity? The US could lose key strategic advantages almost instantly. Now, before we go further, subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep giving you facts that open your eyes and maybe even save your wallet. Number 8. Saudi Arabia. Imagine a scenario where the world's gas stations suddenly faced shortages due to a decision made within a palace thousands of miles away. While not always prominent in headlines, Saudi Arabia significantly influences global fuel prices. This nation is not merely characterized by desert landscapes and modern architecture. It represents a critical center of global energy, controlling nearly 17% of the world's proven oil reserves. Saudi Arabia effectively acts as the gatekeeper of global fuel flow. A single decision by them to cut production can cause oil prices to surge dramatically, as has occurred previously. Beyond oil production, Saudi Arabia wields considerable influence. The US and this Middle Eastern power have maintained a decades-long arrangement centered on oil supply in exchange for security guarantees. However, in recent years, this balance has begun to shift. Saudi Arabia has cultivated stronger relationships with other rising global powers and has even initiated trading oil in currencies other than the US dollar. While this might seem minor, if this trend accelerates, it could potentially undermine the foundation of the US economy. Global confidence in the US dollar is significantly tied to oil being priced in it. If this link weakens, the purchasing power of American currency could diminish. Number 7. India. It might be unexpected, but the next global power the US cannot afford to alienate is also the world's most populous country. With over 1.4 billion people, India is rapidly emerging as one of the most influential nations globally. Its importance to the US stems from multiple factors. Geographically, India is situated centrally in Asia. Economically, it boasts one of the fastest-growing major economies worldwide. Militarily, it is developing into a significant force, with a defense budget ranking among the top 5 globally. Intriguingly, India is also home to one of the largest technology workforces on the planet. Nearly 75% of the world's IT outsourcing market is handled by Indian firms. U.S. companies, from startups to Fortune 500 corporations, depend heavily on Indian talent, infrastructure, and innovation. What would happen if these operational pipelines were disrupted? Consider current customer service wait times and then imagine entire tech departments grinding to a halt, delaying cloud services, application updates, and cybersecurity measures. Before we move to the next global heavyweight, hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep bringing you the facts, the insight, and the stories that other people aren't telling. Trust us, you don't want to miss what's next. Number 6. Germany. When a stable powerhouse located in Central Europe makes a strategic shift, it doesn't involve military aggression but rather adjustments in policy and economic direction, causing ripples throughout the global economy. This dynamic makes Germany critically essential to the US. It might be surprising how much the American economy depends on a country without significant oil reserves, coastlines, or a nuclear arsenal. Germany possesses the largest economy in Europe and ranks as the third largest exporter globally. From automobiles and chemicals to high-precision machinery, many products likely incorporate German engineering. This is only part of the picture. Germany serves as the financial engine of the European Union, which collectively engages in over $1 trillion in trade with the US annually. If Berlin alters its foreign policy direction, the entire EU could potentially pivot away from Washington and toward emerging global players. However, this is not the most critical aspect. Germany also hosts Ramstein Air Base, a vital hub for US military operations across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Losing access to this base would mean losing a strategic operational platform in multiple regions. Number 5. Japan. Consider a nation smaller in land area than California, yet possessing such a strong influence on the future that losing its partnership could set the US back significantly. This country is Japan. More than just a land of sushi and cherry blossoms, Japan is a technological giant, a primary US trade partner, and host to over 100 Fortune Global 500 companies. From advanced robotics to sophisticated microchips, Japan produces technology that drives global innovation. It may be surprising to learn that over 30% of the world's semiconductor materials originate from Japan. Crucially, Japan is also one of America's most steadfast military allies in the Indo-Pacific region. Hosting nearly 54,000 US troops, Japan serves as a defensive shield in one of the world's most volatile areas. If this partnership were to dissolve, the entire balance of power in Asia could shift dramatically and dangerously. While Japan typically avoids creating global controversies, this quiet approach should not be mistaken for weakness. It possesses the world's third largest economy, and its actions significantly influence Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and international affairs. Number 4. South Korea. Consider the sophistication of your smartphone and the speed of your internet connection. Now, imagine both diminishing significantly because one small, high-tech nation decided to end its close ties with the US. That nation is South Korea. The extent to which modern American life depends on this dynamic, innovation-driven country might be surprising. From the screen of your smartphone to the complex computer systems in your car, South Korean technology operates behind the scenes, powering devices used daily. In fact, over 60% of the global memory chip market is controlled by just two South Korean companies, Samsung and SK Hynix. Without their output, entire industries could face paralysis almost overnight. However, South Korea's importance extends beyond gadgets and data speeds. It is also one of America's closest military allies, situated geographically close to North Korea, one of the world's most unpredictable states. With nearly 28,000 U.S. troops stationed there, South Korea is not just a partner but a strategic forward base. If this alliance were to break down, the U.S. would lose a vital foothold in one of the most volatile regions globally. Number 3. Brazil. What if the region often referred to as the lungs of the earth decided to alter its cooperative stance? What if a country abundant in natural resources and growing influence chose a divergent path? That country is Brazil. Covering nearly half of the South American continent, Brazil's significance extends beyond its size. The Amazon rainforest, located mostly within its borders, generates approximately 20% of the world's oxygen and serves as a massive carbon sink, storing billions of tons of carbon dioxide. A breakdown in environmental cooperation with Brazil could severely undermine global climate change efforts, with consequences affecting everyone. Beyond its environmental role, Brazil is a leading exporter of essential commodities such as soybeans, coffee, iron ore, beef, and oil. Numerous American industries, from food production to fuel supply, rely on stable trade relations with this major economy. Disruptions to this supply chain could lead to soaring prices and production slowdowns in the U.S. Additionally, Brazil is gaining substantial influence in international forums. As a key member of the BRICS coalition, along with Russia, India, China, and South Africa, Brazil is actively participating in reshaping global trade and economic structures. If Brazil aligns more closely with non-Western powers, it could shift the global balance in ways the U.S. may not be prepared for. Number 2. United Kingdom. While often associated with afternoon tea, royal palaces, and distinct accents, the United Kingdom is a nation whose potential departure from close alignment could significantly impact America's global standing. The depth of the US-UK relationship might be surprising. The UK is more than just a long-standing friend. It is America's closest intelligence-sharing partner through the Elite Five Eyes alliance, which also includes Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. This partnership involves real-time sharing of critical data on global threats, cyber attacks, terrorism, and military movements. Losing this intelligence channel would leave the U.S. significantly less informed about developments in some of the world's most dangerous regions. Financially, London remains one of the world's premier financial centers, managing trillions of dollars in global assets. A significant shift in UK economic policy, potentially favoring rivals or moving away from the US dollar's dominance, could trigger instability on Wall Street. Beyond finance and intelligence, the UK possesses critical defense infrastructure, including independent nuclear capabilities and participation in joint military operations with US forces worldwide. From submarine bases to aircraft carriers, Britain acts as a force multiplier for US military reach. Number 1. Turkey. This next country may not always receive prominent media attention, but a strategic shift on its part could impede U.S. access to entire critical regions. That nation is Turkey. The influence wielded by this nation, situated at the crossroads of Europe and the Middle East, on global military operations might be underestimated. Turkey controls the Bosphorus Strait, one of the most strategically important maritime passages globally. Denial of access through this strait could severely restrict NATO's ability to move naval forces between key seas. Turkey is also emerging as a significant player in the global drone and defense technology industry, producing systems that other nations, including U.S. allies, are beginning to acquire. If Turkey decides to completely realign its partnerships, it could not only diminish American power projection but also potentially empower U.S. rivals. Economically, Turkey serves as a crucial link between Europe and Asia and is a growing trade partner in sectors like energy, agriculture, and technology. A major political or economic pivot by Turkey could reroute global supply chains almost instantly. Consider the implications if Turkey were to limit U.S. access for key military operations or formally align with powers outside the traditional Western sphere. These are not merely hypothetical scenarios but reflect ongoing developments. This nation's strategic importance should not be overlooked. While not always dominating headlines, if Turkey were to significantly shift its alignment, the US would feel the consequences immediately, on the battlefield, in financial markets, and at international negotiation tables. If this opened your eyes, then help us keep going. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to understand how global power really works. Because this isn't just international politics, it's personal, and the more we know, the better prepared we are.